Hi everyone, Angry Foreskin here. This is an episode of Channel Autistic where we're gonna go over some statistics for all them autistics who wanna get their dicks shit while listening to Limp Bizkit. One question I usually get is, how many of your subscribers are Swedish? Well, I figured that we were gonna look at that today, along with some other interesting information.
Okay, so this is my channel studio, and if you look here, we see estimated revenue. Now, this number is completely devious and misleading, which we'll be getting into later. But first, let's look at the subscriber statistics. The Swedish people are the largest group at almost 65,000. But when you add non-Swedes together, they make out an even larger number, which is pretty interesting. When you add all of these different countries together, it amounts to approximately 68,000, with the largest non-Swedish group coming from the United States. So a big thank you to all the Americans out there. I really appreciate you spreading the word abroad. However, I'm not sure if subscriber amount measures actual engagement, since you can be an inactive subscriber. So, just because you're sub doesn't mean you're committed or give a shit. So one way I'd imagine measuring engagement is likes. That is, people who actually bother clicking like on a video. And if you look at this number, Swedish people are the biggest group there. Their like ratio is like several times higher than other countries. Quite notably overrepresented, actually. Even if you put all of these non-Swedish countries together, it's not half the amount, but it's closer to half the amount. So I think that says something about engagement. And it's the same when it comes to sharing videos. Swedish people are pretty overrepresented here. They're less than half of my subscribers, but amount to 48% of shares. It's kind of interesting to note how the United States are sharing at a much higher rate than the UK. I think one reason why Americans in particular are so prolific in sharing videos compared to all other non-Swedish countries is because they really don't want to see their country become like Sweden. Whereas if you take the UK, for example, they're already kind of in the shit. I've seen stuff from England that I haven't seen from Sweden. So if you ask me, England is about as bad as Sweden. Now let's look at something really depressing. Viewer retention, meaning the attention span people have when watching my videos. On average, only about 37% of viewers actually finish watching the whole video, which isn't super bad. It's closer to half, but it's still not great. Not to jack myself off here, but some of my videos are actually pretty important. If you look at Welcome to Sweden, for example, only about 40% of people who saw it bothered watching the whole thing. And if you take the Islamization of Sweden, now I think this is a very important document on what's going on in Sweden, how insidious Islamization is, and how politicians and journalists are complicit in turning our European countries into shit. And that video was only finished by 17% of viewers. It goes on like this, basically. It's actually more interesting to see what videos are above 50% rather than focusing on which ones are below, because most videos are below 50%. Okay, so this is a video that 72% of viewers actually bothered watching, called 6 Times Swedish Media Lied to You. This video is 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and generally people watched up until 2 minutes and 22 seconds, which is kind of perverse to me. This video has an 83% retention rate, and it's 1 minute and 15 seconds. How to end manspreading, which was a joke video I did. Wow, that's what it takes? I have to make a video that's fucking 1 minute long in order to keep your retarded head focused. Fuck people. This is a blooper video that's under 1 minute, and it has a 75% retention rate. Yippee! With Jared Taylor, 2 seconds, 93% retention rate. That's what it takes? 2 second videos? Really? Here's a video I did about hate comments from feminists, 13 minutes, and it has a 50% retention rate. That's not bad, actually, given the circumstances. But still, it's kind of annoying. You really can't say anything profound in under 5 minutes. minutes. I like Paul Joseph Watson, and his videos are usually 3 to 6 minutes long, but that's because I already agree with him, and so I find his rants to be entertaining. Paul is very good at summarizing, but if you want to get into detail about things and provide deeper analysis, 5 minutes doesn't really cut it. I like Gavin's videos too. They're pretty summarizing as well, but at 10 minutes general duration, you still get a lot of thought patterns that are interesting to soak up. And his work is more political comedy than political analysis. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that shorter videos entertain, but longer videos expand minds. If you really want to red pill people, you gotta have a consistent frame of perspective with plenty of facts to go along with it. And that's what I like to think I'm doing here. Expanding minds, penetrating, sometimes without consent, raping hard, raping without mercy, using your brains as cum buckets and filling them with my filthy foreigner semen. That's what I'm into. That's just the type of guy that I am. Take it or leave it. What you see is what you get. I just think it's a shame that if you can't bite-size something to 3 minutes, it's not gonna reach the average person. And that's why I think it's important for people to take all of these things that we talk about in our videos and discuss them in real life with their friends and co-workers and classmates. Because otherwise, people aren't gonna get red-pilled. Because they're not gonna watch the shit that you watch. That's why I think it's so awesome whenever a young person writes me and tells me they got the teacher to show one of my videos to his class. Because then approximately 20 people watch a video of mine, the whole video, and get to analyze and discuss the content afterwards. This is probably the best way of sharing a video and probably one of my favorite comments a fan could give. Now some people are fucking pussies and get all like, but what are people gonna think of me if I say taboo things? Well, tell you what, go online, research debate tactics, and learn how to talk about these things without being an asshole. Most people are reasonable. If you treat them well, they're gonna do the same. And in the odd cases where some radical feminist freaks out, just don't lower yourself to their level. Be confident in your knowledge, let them cry like babies, and don't allow other people's labels to decide whether or not you speak. People can only have power over you if you allow them to. Keep in mind that good argumentation is about planting a seed. Nobody changes their entire worldview overnight, no matter how good arguments they're presented with, because the human ego is a fragile thing. But as time passes and they see news reports and incidents in their own life corresponding with what you've told them, their mind is gonna associate to what you said, and that's when they realize that you had a point. This is a process that happens subconsciously a lot of the time, and you're not always gonna know when people experience this, but that's precisely why it's important to always tell the truth and dare discuss these things. If you just manage to red pill a few, the ripple effect of that can be tremendous. And besides, you're never gonna make really good friends if you can't have genuine conversations that truly matter. You can't attract like-minded people without showing your mind. So who has the best retention rate as a country? Western Sahara, Africa, average view duration 11 minutes. Sweden, 6 minutes. Fucking black people have better attention spans than Swedes? My niggas. My niggas! So what this means is that the most uneducated countries in the entire world are more open to being educated than Swedish people. I guess there is some hope for Africa after all. This objectively proves that black people are superior to Swedes. This is proof. Swedish people are the niggers of the Aryan race. I'm already donating money to UNICEF, but I think I should kick up my contribution per month. Oh, Ruski, niet. Why you only give me 3 minutes? In Soviet Russia, minutes watch you. Greenland is watching my... That's kind of creepy. I thought that this was just a block of ice. There's actual people here? That's something. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the whole estimated revenue issue. The last 3 months, my estimated revenue is $192, but in reality, I've made $139, which is kind of upsetting, because in the beginning of this year, before the apocalypse happened, I was making at least $350 a month. Although I do have to point out that February here is a very big exception. Usually I don't make this much. This is about $1,600. I seem to recall this is because of Donald Trump. When Trump talked about Sweden and I made videos capitalizing on that, I got a little more over 500,000 views, and this is how much I made off of all that. So thank you, Mr. Trump. Your comments got pretty lucrative to me, but on average I used to get 3,000 to about 6,000 crowns a month, which translates to $360 to $700 a month. That used to be my YouTube salary, but things have changed notably ever since the apocalypse. Nowadays, I barely break $100 a month. To sum it up, usually I make around $100 every second or 3 months, which isn't a lot. You can't survive for a whole month on this type of salary alone, but that's precisely why I love my patrons, because they make sure I can have a decent janitor's salary every month doing what I do. YouTube has never been a sustainable income for me. Fan donations have always made out the majority of my income. But even so, I always kind of look to YouTube as a nice bonus every month, getting a few $100 extra. That's kind of gone now, because ever since the apocalypse, I barely break $100 a month. So to that kike stereotype Mr. Feinstein, who masterminded this whole apocalypse thing, I just want to say, go fuck yourself. I wish all Jewish people were more like Larry David. So yeah, looking over my channel stats has been interesting, since I was convinced that most of my viewers are Swedish, but they're actually non-Swedish, which is nice. It's nice that there is an interest for Sweden outside of Sweden. My hypothesis is that Swedish people are pussies and don't give a fuck about their own country. But if we can aim the spotlight on Sweden from an international perspective and get other countries to bully Swedes are gonna start to finally give a fuck about the degradation of their own society. So therefore, I am happy that there's an interest in Sweden outside of Sweden. And it's funny to think about, but before I made my very first video in English, I actually talked to a friend and expressed doubt. I said that I didn't know if anybody was gonna care about Swedish issues outside of Sweden. So I was actually insecure as to whether or not my first video in English would get any attention. And then that video ended up going viral and getting 2 million views, becoming my most watched one to this very day. And I actually owe that to Sargon, or Sargoy of Mossad, as some like to call him. That beautiful, thick stud is the catalyst that got me to start making videos in English, because when he invited me to his channel, that was the first time I talked about Sweden in English, and the amount of attention and feedback that livestream got proved to me that there is an audience for this type of stuff. And my channel has definitely grown because of it, enabling me to get on popular outlets such as Russia Today, The Alex Jones Show, Libertarian Republic, and The Gavin McInnes Show. So I really appreciate Sargon giving me the time of day. It triggered a lot. And going over these statistics shows me that there really is a point in making videos in English, since most of my subs are non-Swedish, and most Swedes understand English anyway. But I still feel like it's important to make videos in Swedish sometimes, because certain topics just resonate better, both in relevance and language. When you talk about an issue in the Swedish language, it resonates better with Swedish people, since Swedish is the language of their thoughts. So it makes it easier for them to absorb the perspectives presented. Since they think in Swedish, that's the language of their inner dialogue. So sometimes I'm just gonna have to do stuff in Swedish, since it's more important that it reaches Swedes. Whereas other topics are international and suit better in English. I mean, sometimes there's things going on in Sweden that are so insane that I just have to let the entire world know about it, like the whole batik hexa phenomenon. So yeah, some topics do work better in English. This is just an explanation for anyone wondering why I choose to mix it up sometimes. Also, fuck you if you're gonna bitch about any of this. All of you non-Swedes out there, just be patient and shut the fuck up. up. Just respect that I wanna make my country a better place. Thank you! And learn how to use subtitles. Seriously, there's a lot of great movies that you're missing out on by not using subtitles. Like for example, So contre toi, or I Stand Alone. Gaspar Noé is a trippy motherfucker, and this movie really trolls its viewer. It's pretty hilarious. You gotta check it out. Or why not Man Bites Dog? That one is both dark and funny. The same can be said for the classic Salo, about how politicians are perverts, and Serbian Film, of course, that's a personal favorite. I've probably watched that one 5 times already, but it requires subtitles. So look, there's a bunch of awesome shit that you're missing out on by not using subtitles. So learn to use subs and become smarter, because using subtitles gives you access to things. Get smarter. Improve. And the same thing applies to the Swedish audience. You're fucking retarded if you don't want to get better at English, because you're missing out on tons of shit. There is loads of literature, research, and entertainment in English that's valuable. So come on, push yourself. Stop being a lazy cunt. Get better at language. Language is the coding of reality. It's what we use to transfer information to each other. So the more language you can master, the better. And subtitles really give you an easy way of doing this. I don't know. I don't have any other points to make. Just I hope I'm gonna keep drinking. So I'll see you next time. Bye.